Time once again for Boston Red Sox Cyber Replay Review for the fourth week of this fake season, the 2004 replay. And it was a good week for the Red Sox. They went 4-2 overall. They have improved to 13-11, which I believe is within a game or two of where they gained one game this week. So I think they're 2 games behind their real record. We'll get to their week in just a second. So, and they are tied currently with Baltimore for second in the American League East, and I believe, even though it's so early, would be technically tied with Baltimore for the wild card as well. So let's take a look at the divisions, all 6 of them. Let's start with the National League West. San Diego still holds a 2-game lead over Los Angeles at 16-10. San Francisco at 14-12 is 2 back. Arizona and Colorado are already 5 off the pace as we've completed the games of the 2nd of May. In the Central, St. Louis has been able to print playoff tickets since opening day. They've opened up a 4.5-game lead on the Cubs. The Cardinals are 19-6. Jim Edmonds, I took a look, has already had 10 home runs and 26 RBIs. Just a tremendous year so far for him. The Brewers are in third, 7 back. Pittsburgh 8 back at 10-13. Houston, the real-life wildcard winners, 8.5 back at 10-14. They're 4 games behind the Cubs at this juncture. With the Reds being in last in the National League East, Philadelphia carries a half-game lead over Atlanta and a game-and-a-half lead over Montreal, who's 13-13. How about that? The Phillies are 13-10. In the American League West, Anaheim with a 3-game lead over Oakland. The Angels are 16-9, and David Eckstein's having a great year for them, hitting .386, good for 6th in the American League in hitting. In the Central, Minnesota, the real-life winners, holds a 1-game lead finally over Chicago and in a game-and-a-half over Detroit. We're going to play Kansas City and Cleveland this week. The Red Sox will, and they are in 4th and 5th in the Central. Kansas City 2.5 back, Cleveland 3.5 back. Texas, by the way, taking 2 out of 3 from Boston, moves to 12-13. 4 back. Behind the Red Sox in the standings, the Blue Jays and Tampa Bay Devil Rays are 6 back. Already kind of a lost season for them. So standing-wise, the Red Sox are about where they should be. And the Yankees are playing over their head, but we kind of expected that. All right, leaders in the American League. Ichiro is hitting .454 and leads the American League in hitting. Travis Hafner is second, hitting .421. Melvin Moore is still hitting .402 for Baltimore through 22 games. Jason Varitek is fourth at .397 with 6 homers and 12 RBIs. That's great. Sanchez for Detroit at .393 is fifth, and as I said, David Eckstein is sixth with Anaheim at .386. We'll see Tony Graffinino, who's hitting 7th in the American League at .382 over next weekend, along with Jose Santiago, who's hitting at .362. I don't know if it's Jose, who's hitting 10th at .362. Home runs, Gary Sheffield and David Ortiz lead the American League with 10. Eric Chavez from Oakland and Vladimir Guerrero from Anaheim have 9, and Travis Hafner, who we're about to spend 4 games with, has 8 in his tie, or is in at least a lead name in 5th. Runs batted in, David Ortiz leads all the majors with 31. Gary Sheffield is 29 for the Yankees. Guerrero has 26 for Anaheim. Alex Rodriguez is 25 for the Yankees and is tied with Jermaine Dye. Stolen bases, Carl Crawford has 9 for Tampa Bay. Alex Rodriguez is 7. And that's good for second. Carlos Beltran, who still played for Kansas City, has 7. Roberts and Harris have 6 for Baltimore and the White Sox. Pitching leaders, Francisco Rodriguez still leads the American League in ERA. He's thrown 26 innings in 25 games, and it has not allowed an earned run. 26 innings, 7 hits, walked 8, and struck out 38. As far as starters is concerned, Kevin Brown has an .065 ERA, one of the reasons why the Yankees have stormed out to a 15-10 record. Behind him, Roy Halladay at .87 and Mike Maroth at 1.5, with Jared Washburn in 5th at .154. Our own Pedro Martinez is 9th in the American League in earned run average at .216. The wins leaders total, Kevin Brown and Mark Burley lead the American League with 5, with Mike Mussina, Brad Radke, and Jared Washburn right behind with 4. As far as saves are concerned, Easy Eddie Guardado for Seattle has 6. Keith Folk, Francisco Cordero, and Urquiz Ubina from Detroit all have 5, and Mariano Rivera has 4 for the Yankees. Strikeouts, Johan Santana leads the American League with 50. Randy Johnson has 60 for the Diamondbacks. Philly All Baseball. Rodriguez out of the pen is 38 for Anaheim, with Schilling third at 37. Pedro Martinez fourth with 36. And Mike Mussina of the Yankees fifth with 34. All right, delving into the week that was, the Red Sox are now 12th in hitting in the American League at 262. That's a surprise. They actually hit as a team for real 282. The ERA is a league average 445. They will do better, and it's come down 2 runs in the last 2 weeks, so that's pretty good. This week, they hosted 3 against Tampa Bay on the 28th and a doubleheader on the 29th, which they swept 12-0, 10-3, and 5-1. And then they went to Texas for a doubleheader on Saturday and a single game Sunday. They lost the first one 3-4. They won the nightcap 3-0 behind Pedro Martinez. And in a game that you might have just seen, they lost on a walk-off home run to Kevin Mench to lose the series 2-1, 5-4. Francisco Cordero with a win and Mike Timlin with a loss. Now, the player of the week in baseball is David Ortiz. I'm not quite sure how well you can actually see the numbers on the screen. He has 67 total bases now in 23 games. Jason Varitek is second with 51. This week, David Ortiz hit .500, hit 6 home runs, and drove in 14. That's a phenomenal week. That's an absolutely phenomenal week of baseball for him. So he is the Commodore 64 player of the week. And that's even with Kurt Schilling throwing a 2-hit shutout against Tampa. So good stuff for David Ortiz, and an overall good week for the Red Sox. They'll take it. Their hitting's starting to become a little better, and they've run through a lot of pitchers, but stable, and they're right in the race, which is exactly where you want them to be. The week coming up, they have 4 against Cleveland in Cleveland starting Monday. It's a 7-game week for the Red Sox, and then they'll be home for 3 against another team from the American League Central, the lone visit from the season from the Kansas City Royals. So a good week that they could probably take 4 or 5 out of 7, which would be great for them, and something they'll certainly take, as they need to be able to keep the pace up for the wild card as they battle Baltimore and... Well, right now it's practically Baltimore with Oakland, Chicago, and Detroit still kind of in the running, but Oakland, I believe, sticks around for the full year. So, but they got to get past the Birds. So a good week for the Red Sox overall, and a full week of baseball coming up. So join us for that. The next time we'll have we have every pitch home and away, or every game home and away. So 4 against Cleveland at Jacobs Field, and then 3 against Kansas City at Fenway Park for the first full week of May, the 3rd through the 10th. So for Commodore 64, they're so 80, so awesome, so programmable on the computer, an emulator that you can find online. I'm Ron Juckett, and we'll talk to you the next time.